Come on in, the senility is fine. People live forever in Jacksonville and St. Petersburg and Tampa, but you don't have to live forever to become a grandpa. The entrance requirements for grandpahood are comparatively mild. You only have to live until your child has a child. From that point on, you start looking both ways over your shoulder, because sometimes you feel 30 years younger and sometimes 30 years older. Now you begin to realize who it was that reached the height of imbecility. It was whoever said that grandparents have all the fun and none of the responsibility. This is the most enticing spiderwebs of taradiddle ever spun, because everybody would love to have a baby around who was no responsibility and lots of fun, but I can think of no one but a mooncalf or a gaby who would trust their own child to raise a baby. So you have to personally superintend your grandchild from diapers to pants and from bottle to spoon, because you know that your own child hasn't sense enough to come in and out of a typhoon. You don't have to live forever to become a grandpa, but if you do want to live forever, don't try to be clever. If you wish to reach the end of the trail with an uncut throat, don't go around saying, quote, I don't mind being a grandpa, but I hate being married to a grandma, unquote. He found himself increasingly out of step with his times as the 60s and his own time darkened towards the end. He detested violence. He was a patriot and could not abide the illiberal debate of the day. He didn't like seeing the language and the truth go slack. And yet, he continued. He still produced his wise, wry essays in verse. Still and always, he had his muse, his Frances, to inspire him and to love and to amuse, as here in what I think a specially beautiful example of her annual birthday poem. For Frances, April 12, 1966. Once, love, there was a language fresh and shining as sunrise sparkling on a dewy lawn. The humblest poet, on pride and porridge dining, found noble words to shout the joy of dawn. Then every tongue was young, then art sprang innocent from the heart, and then body and soul, not separate but whole. Too soon the precious heritage was looted, as loutish vandals stormed the treasury. Gold into plastic gewgaws they transmuted, like monkeys playing at inverse alchemy. Coinage debased, defaced, the word, once helmeted and spurred, distorted on the rack by every fumbling hack. How aptly you were born in Easter season. Long tarnished phrases resume their gleam for you. Here's honor, and fierce loyalty scorning reason, and beauty each sculptor year reveals more true. Dance, dance in Renaissance, sweet words, Elizabethan birds should sing my love awake, rather than this harsh music I make. Age proved just one more subject on which to muse in verse. So does everybody else, only not so much. Oh, all ye exorcisers come, and exorcise now, and ye clergymen draw nigh and clerge, for I wish to be purged of an urge. It is an irksome urge, compounded of nettles and glue, and it is turning all my friends back into acquaintances, and all my acquaintances into people who look the other way when I heave into view. It is an indication that my mental buttery is butterless, and my mental larder lardless. And it consists not of, stop me if you've heard this one, but of, I know you've heard this one, because I told it to you myself, but I'm going to tell you again regardless. Yes, I fear I am living beyond my mental means. When I realize that it is not only anecdotes that I reiterate, but what is far worse, summaries of radio programs and descriptions of cartoons in the newspapers and magazines. I want to resist, but I cannot resist recounting the bright sayings of celebrities that everybody already is familiar with every word of. I want to refrain, but cannot refrain, from telling the same audience on 2 successive evenings the same little snatches of domestic gossip about people I used to know that they have never heard of. When I remember some titillating episode of my childhood, I figure that it's worth narrating once if it's worth narrating twice. In spite of lackluster eyes and dropping jaws, and indeed I have now worked my way backward from titillating episodes in my own childhood to titillating episodes in the childhood of my parents or even my parents-in-laws. And what really turns my corpuscles to ice, I carry around clippings and read them to people twice. And I know what I am doing while I am doing it, and I don't want to do it, but I can't help doing it, and I am just another ancient mariner. And the prospects for my future social life couldn't possibly be barren. Did I tell you that the prospects for my future social life couldn't be barren?